Now, to discuss this further, we are being joined by Mr. David M. Herzenhorn, who is the author of the book, The Dissident Alexei Navalny, Profile of a Political Prisoner. He is also the Russia-Ukraine editor at the Washington Post. So thank you so much for joining us on WION World is One.
Good morning.
Now, the news of Alexei Navalny's death, it has gripped everyone's attention, not just in Russia, but beyond as well. The circumstances of his death and the refusal to hand over the body, that has raised suspicions. What's your take on this?
Well, the suspicions come from the fact that the Russian government had tried to kill Alexei Navalny before, and that he was imprisoned in a, as you said, harsh penal colony in the Arctic north of Russia. He died suddenly. He had been seen the day before on a video link for a court proceeding, joking, in good spirits, apparently in good health. So it's an understatement to say that there are suspicions when, on the one hand, the authorities say that this death was of natural causes, and on the other hand, refused to immediately provide his body to his family. His mother went immediately there up north, requesting that his remains be turned over to her.
Now, of course, Alexei Navalny's imprisonment, his transfer to the Arctic penal colony, all seem suspect. There were also, in fact, reports earlier in which Navalny had stated how he was made to listen to a pro-Russian pop artist early in the morning every day. People have called it a systemic persecution of the vocal Putin critic. You've also spoken about how his death in prison was inevitable. What's next for Russia and any form of opposition that dares to find space in the nation?
Well, clearly, at this moment, with Russia attacking Ukraine, carrying out a brutal war against a country of 40 million people, you just reported on the capture of Avdiivka. The Russian officials talk about liberating Avdiivka. They're stealing Ukrainian territory. The Russians are invading and stealing the territory of Ukraine. At this moment, there is no room for political dissent in Russia. Political critics of Vladimir Putin, of the war, are either exiled, they're arrested in jail, or like Navalny, they're now dead.
Now, when we talk about Alexei Navalny, what would you say were the factors that made Navalny so popular among the people? What was it about his ideologies or his form of politics that you think struck a chord with the people?
So Navalny was a born politician. His close friends, family will tell you that he was a political animal, that from a very early age, right after university, he started to get involved in local politics, a party called Yabloko. The name translates as apple. It was a liberal progressive party, as how we would know it in mainstream politics, hoping that there would be real diversity of politics, the possibility of freedom and democracy in post-Soviet Russia. Already, though, Putin and Putin's party, United Russia, were tightening their grip. Navalny was charismatic, funny, just a very cutting sense of humor. And he had an ability to take small details. He started out crusading against corruption. He was trained in finance, and as a lawyer, he would like to read the fine print and then find these vast corruption schemes by big Russian state-owned companies. And he would go to shareholder meetings and be able to illustrate this for regular people who quickly understood that he was fighting for the little guy. Once on a radio show, it was almost by accident, he labeled Putin's party, the United Russia, the party of crooks and thieves. And that became a meme even before we really understood memes as memes. It went viral across the country. Everybody reacted to that feeling frustrated. It was a way of that it captured the sense of frustration in the country over vast graft and corruption. Russia, a country that is so rich, for example, in gas and oil, and yet remains very poor for most people, struggling to make ends meet. So Navalny had this way of taking, he used to call it poking a stick at these big, powerful officials and how corrupt they were. You'd see his YouTube videos that reached millions of people describing how, for example, the former president Dmitry Medvedev had amassed a real estate portfolio worth $1 billion or more, showing even how he had, expensive Nike sneakers, and following that little detail of where his delivery packages were arriving to show these were residences that effectively belonged to him, even if they were technically on paper owned by other entities. The biggest investigation, of course, being the Black Sea Palace. that everyone understands is Vladimir Putin's, but of course is not in Putin's name, and the Kremlin denies that it's his. All the gold and the dancing poles and et cetera, the Italian furniture that were put in there. So he had a way of showing and illustrating for regular people why they were suffering at the hands of a corrupt government.
All right. Well, Mr. Herzenhorn, thank you so much for joining us on WION World is One with your insights on this. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.